Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Fantastic Four Issue 13, 2022. And I really love the cover here with Doom riding another T-Rex Doom, and the use of color just staying with his color scheme works very well. Now granted, this just also has the double advantage of dealing with what's going on story-wise, but that's fucking great. That would be a good poster right there. So, we start off this issue pretty much seeing from Doom's perspective and understanding how he teamed up with the other universe's Doom, which is kind of interesting. Granted, in Jason Aaron's Avengers run, we had like a Doom going around and doing his own kind of stuff throughout the multiverse, and this Doom teaming up with like T-Rex Doom. It's interesting, but we've also seen this kind of stuff going on before, Doom dealing with them, other kind of variants and whatnot, but I do like how it's handled here. It doesn't feel like it's overplayed, at least of what's going on here. Pretty much talking about how one of the other kind of portals opened up in Latveria, and at long last, having finally encountered one who can match Doom, my power, my brilliance, my ambition, we began to plan together what must happen next to liberate both our worlds, as we see him popping up, and a good shot of Dino Doom. And we shift over and we see Ben kind of dealing with coming back to our universe, being like, crap, Reed let him go, he's got to pop out on the other side. He's thinking that our group of Avengers would have been able to communicate with the Dino Fantastic Four, but they are still fighting them. That it's taken them a while, and Ben's just trying to pretty much explain the situation, saying what happened is that Dinosaur Tony teamed up with R. Reed to build a translator. Oh, sure, no problem. Happy to collaborate with old T. Reed here and his brother-in-law, the Dino Torch. Hey, don't suppose you know Dinosaurese for let's team up instead of you frying me? And I love how Tony is in this. It just works very well. The creative team has a very good handle on Tony. And then we see Dino Ben popping up. It's like, shit. And Ben pretty much is like, alright, I've got to utilize... He's got to get some kind of way to get their attention, and essentially uses the Dino Cuts to do it, which, that works. I mean, seriously, if you were dealing with some kind of other species that really doesn't know your language, but you're able to understand them saying the word fuck, shit, or some other kind of cuss, you'd be like, oh, the fuck do you know that? It's like a universal kind of thing of, what? And then they're immediately trying to talk to him. It's like, hey, shit. All I got was like the cuss man. And then, of course, they're able to work through it. Now they're able to talk. They're like apologizing and everything. And then Johnny's like, I can't believe the only word you learned in our language is a cuss. They're the easiest ones, Dino Flame Brain. Nobody picks complicated words to cuss with. Like how in English you say, Ben, what would Aunt Petunia say? And Ben's right. A cuss is supposed to be as uncomplicated as possible. It is to get the point across of whenever somebody says the word fuck, shit, damn, ass, hell, anything like that, you pretty much understand it right off the bat because you're like, oh. It's funny. The only way it could be like when someone's like, shit, you'll be like, shit. And you kind of get it. And then talking about how their universes are in danger. They're ready to send you, Ben, and the Gizmo back when the portal reopens. Let's see here. Dino Reed's like, hey, this is a pretty good technology. It should work. Let's see. Yeah, that's what they told me. Like I said before, you just need to hit it with power. I'm not sure why my primate parallel let you go, but with my larger mass, it should be easier for me to... Oh, that won't be necessary. This matter is no longer your concern, heroes. Doom has assumed command of this situation. I suggest you return to your chalet, or satellite, or defiled corpse, or whatever it is, wherever it is, your little clubhouse meeting, or wherever it is you have your little clubhouse meetings these days. It's like, Doom, stop being an asshole. But that's kind of his thing. Tony's like, fuck you. The name Stark is Dr. Doom. You will address me as such. Okay, Doctor. You're on American soil, surrounded by both the Avengers and an FF made up of a stretchy T-Rex, an invisible Triceratops, a flying fire raptor, howdy, and two Ben Grimms, one of who is a giant Pachycephalosaurus. Yes, agreed. I don't know how you think this is going to go, but I suggest you revise your tone, Victor, as Reed snorts on us like shit, but then Doom's like, eat my ass. He's like, oh, I'm being far too polite, and then blasts him. Reed at first is like, I'm okay. It's like, I'm not okay. Normally my body bends around any explosion, absorbing the energy. But there was so much, so sudden. What was that? A weapon forged from the last gasp of two dying universes. And what will happen to each and all of you as fast as thought itself if you don't get out of my way? It's like, shit. Let's see. And then he goes into explaining it as the Avengers and the Fantastic Four dinos go after him. Like about my weapon, for example. The merest glance, the smallest thought, and these two beams shift a single quark from the other universe on top of one here. The release of energy as they destroy each other is magnificent, and beyond even your ability to control Ms. Danvers. So that's kind of like if you got matter and antimatter together. It's quarks from different universes, and of course they can't occupy the same space. So when you put them on top of each other, you get an explosion of energy. It is a genius weapon to employ, though granted you have to have fine control of it, otherwise you could destroy the universe. And then Doom's like, I did not come here to destroy your husband, Susan, merely to demonstrate that I could, and the intangible and shielded as well vision. Arg, it was necessary to ensure your compliance in both universes. You must understand, myself and my dinosaur counterpart see potential the rest of you miss. As such, Doom is, Dooms are, merging our universes into one. And then, of course, we're like, okay, why would you do that? Reed's like, they can't cohabitate. Our calculations line up. Your calculations? Your calculations? Your calculations are fatally flawed, Reed, as they always are, burned by incorrect assumptions and sloppy reasoning. Geez, I wonder what kind of logic that could actually be used against on other people's calculations, Victor. The universe cannot occupy the same space, true, but they won't have to. The other Doom and I will merge them laterally, producing a universe that's twice as big, twice as vibrant, with twice as much glory to rule. Okay. Granted, that's some big level kind of concepts to deal with, and I love that this comic introduces them and have you kind of thinking about that as well. It's like, laterally? Alright, try that shit, man. Doom, please, listen to yourself. What you're proposing is insane. And of course, Dino Reed's like agreeing with Tony on that. Yes, it's so far beyond what you think is possible that you say it's not. Don't you tire of this song and dance, Stark, Richards? Don't you tire of always being the one who's wrong? Doom, you've been wrong a lot. You just don't fucking admit it. Telling them not to interfere, or I will place a cork inside each of your thin skulls and kill each of you with a thought. Damn. And then, the Dino Fantastic Four are like, yeah, he'll do it, so we won't stop you. And then, of course, Dino Ben's like, listen to him, Doc. You don't have to do this. Benjamin, please. I'm Victor Von Doom. One universe was never going to be enough. That's pretty much true on any kind of Doom. Then, of course, Dino Doom scoops up our Ben Grimm and throws him. They both kind of go on through this, like, hey, we got to do this. And I really like this because this gives Ben the chance to shine again, of trying to figure out his way of dealing with Victor Von Doom, rather than just clobbering time. This is a scenario where it's like, he can just kill you with a thought. And then, of course, they've got a plan, so they go there, and of course, and here they are, the Brothers Grimm. It's always the same with them, isn't it? Just one thing after another, and that's a well-executed pun to me. I'm fine with that. Like, normally, depending upon puns, it's be like, but I actually really love that one. That's just fucking great, with Doom riding Dino Doom. It's like, yep. And of course, Dino Ben's like, clever, Doc. Odd last words, but fitting to go out praising us. Now, hey, enough. We're not here to fight ya. Yeah, we know when we're licked. Little Doom here already bested the FF and the Avengers. We just wanna, I don't know, watch. Ain't every day you get to see a new universe get born. You're lying. And if we are, you really think we could beat you when you already proved you can kill us with a thought? He makes a good point, and the equipment requires our attention. The merging has already begun. So they pretty much go off to kind of do their kind of shit. And then we see pretty much Doom's downfall with this. 2 clobbering time guys are hardly an intellectual threat. It depends upon how they go about it. The thing is, you have to watch out, because someone can beat you with their smarts, but someone can also beat you with their stupidity. You have to be careful in certain kind of things. Now, granted, Ben is not stupid. He might not have the knowledge of certain kind of things that, like, Reed, Stark, or Doom have. You know what I mean? But he knows how to fight, which is its own kind of knowledge. Of course, he's asking, like, what's going to be? Is Earth going to be twice as big? How's that going to affect the gravity? Cram everything together. They're like, we thought of that. Talking about their Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur teaming up with their Moon Girl and Devil Human. And, of course, it's kind of, like, annoying them, but then they're asking which one's going to lead, and that's your basic kind of Doom level thing that you pretty much have to wedge about. And the thing is, they're able to get it into them. And of course, at first they're like, oh, it's a transparent attempt to divide us. Pathetic. They'll say we'll both lead equally. And they're of course like, that's not gonna happen. Doom, look, you gotta know Dino Doom here is gonna betray you first chance he gets. And Doom, come on, you don't really think Human Doom is gonna be happy with co-leader, do you? It just ain't sustainable. And that's a big thing. They'll be like, nah, we're alright. We'll do this. It's already failed as they start blasting Human Doom. Not Human Doom, Human Ben. And then, of course, Ben brings up who's gonna betray who first. It's like, yep. And they're both doing their shit, and then they just fucking go after each other, because it's like, they're striking as they please. We see Doom attempting to stop himself from getting eaten. It's like, okay. And then, of course, Ben's able to help muck about on the machine while they got their hands full. And they're able to work it and make sure that the universe is split. And I don't have a problem with this. Normally, you'd probably think that Reed or Susan would be going after this kind of thing. But if you're able to kind of figure out what's kind of going on, let's see. It depends upon how you're able to figure out how the machinery's kind of worked out for it. Then they get their portals back. They pretty much blast through both of them to get back to their opposite sides. And then talking about, like, if Doom can't survive. So we see them pretty much blasting and fighting each other as the universes are separated. And, of course, that cannot be the end of Victor Von Doom. But that's the last that we see of him at this point, fighting his Dino counterpart. So then we get back. They're saying goodbye to the guys where they're like, yeah, where the portal was open. Let's see. Being like, nice of Nick to be so understanding about his forest getting trashed. I think the fact that we and the Avengers planted new trees helped a ton. Kids love an Avenger, for some reason. 7 of them and not one can juggle even a little fire. It's like, Johnny, I get the kind of like little rivalry thing, and it's kind of interesting to see his kind of take. It's like, come on, you guys are, being an Avenger and being a Fantastic Four are both awesome things. Heck of a risk you took there, Ben. Wasn't nothing. We've sparred with Doom more and enough over the years. I figured it was high time for me to show I know the guy better than he knows himself, which is kind of cool. Do you have any idea what Dino Franklin meant by that secrets thing he said just before Dino Doom showed up? No idea. I'd assume it was one of the differences between our worlds. Well, we'll be able to ask him in person soon enough. Next month, the Baxter Building returns. Next month, our families will be whole again. Next, only in New York. And then, of course, we've got fan letters and a look at the next cover, which looks insane. And, of course, let's see. Okay, that's that. And it's cool. It's like, alright, I liked this whole kind of concept of, like, dinosaur realm. I'm like, okay, let's see how this works. And they did a really interesting job on it. I love that we had them clashing at first because they didn't know the same languages, and then that Doom decided to exacerbate the situation before we'll be getting back to seeing what'll happen with Franklin and Valeria and Nikki and Joe coming back and what is going to be going on, especially since that's going to kind of line up with the gang war going on, and if that'll affect anything, because from the cover, we see certain kind of like Spidey villains tangling with Reed. So we'll see kind of what goes on with that, if there's any kind of linking up, or if they just overlap with certain kind of things. This was really good because the art just worked out very well. I like seeing the Fantastic Four's powers utilized in dino form, and I really like that Ben was kind of the focus here and took on Doom in a very Ben-like fashion. It didn't feel like, how is it, like sometimes you make a character more smart than they should be in certain instances, or dumber in certain instances, depending upon what kind of works out. This seemed like Ben at his usual kind of self-utilizing his own tactics to take on Doom, because Doom is arrogant enough to not believe that Ben would be smart enough to pretty much be able to bring up the most obvious issue of two Dooms working together, because Doom usually wants to hold all the power for himself because he trusts no one and believes himself to be superior to everyone, even other Dooms. And once you point that out to a Doom, you've essentially won the battle if they're trying to like work together. It depends upon if there are any other Dooms around that they could steal certain kind of powers for, if they are not evenly matched, or if one has certain kind of advantages over another, kind of like a Doom Supreme scenario, or like a Planet kind of Doom kind of thing going on. Then this kind of tactic really wouldn't work as well, because then you have the added danger of dealing with the one Doom being able to wrest even more power, and then you're like, how am I going to defeat this Doom? But I like this. I liked how Ben was able to help the situation, especially essentially using the Rosetta Stone of a curse word to get them to be able to talk with each other, and then pretty much pointing out Doom's fatal flaws and being able to help separate the universes and get everybody back together before we're being like, yeah, now we gotta figure out what we're gonna do next month when we get the families back together. So I really enjoyed this issue and can't wait to see what happens next. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.